Hi folks, we've moved on to now we're going to do some basic stabilization and strengthening activities. These movements will help the low back, your core, your knees, and hip power, which we need in golf because it's all about the hip power. So we're going to begin with what we call a bridge. She's lying on her back in a supine position and she raises her hips up to the ceiling, making sure she's pushing her feet down into the table, engaging her hamstrings, her buttocks, and definitely her core. Keeping her chest up, shoulder blades in the table. She would repeat that for 12 to 15 repetitions, holding it at the top for 2 to 3 seconds, making sure she's getting a good contraction of all those muscles we just mentioned, but she's not going to be getting any discomfort. If she does feel increased pressure in her low back, she will stop and needs to bring in more of her abdomen to bring in that intra-abdominal pressure to decompress her low back pain. After that, we would progress to a single-legged bridge. And what happens is one knee comes to the chest, and then she drives up. The motion is the same. We're just increasing the force production and the difficulty of the movement. It is a progression. Again, I would look for 5 to 10 repetitions per leg. This is riskier. It is harder. So if it's too much, you go back to both legs and you repeat those. The next progression is a single-legged bridge with a hip rotation. So now the individual will keep the legs straight, engage the quadriceps, and then they are simply abducting and opening up the hip. This really rocks the core and the right glute and hip area and creates some lumbar stabilization. I would look for 5 to 10 repetitions as well. This is very challenging, very challenging. The objective is to get this leg parallel to the surface, but the further she comes over here, the harder it gets. Master both legs to single-legged before going to this, because this will rock your world. Folks, we're back. Again, creating some low back stabilization, but really activating those glutes till we get that hip power. We're starting with a ball bridge. She's getting hip extension as well as terminal knee extension, firing her VMO, or vastus medialis, her quadriceps, and her glute muscles while maintaining pressure in her abdomen. She would repeat this, I'd like for maybe 10 to 15 repetitions to tolerance, making sure that she's keeping her shoulder blades in the table. She's engaging her quadriceps, her glutes, and her abdomen. Again, everything is performed to tolerance, and want to make sure if she is feeling any low back discomfort, she shortens the motion or stops altogether. A progression would be now to where we do a bent knee bridge. Her feet are flat on the ball. We're going to get more hamstring activation as well as glute activation here. So her whole foot would be on top of the ball, and then she rises her hips up, engaging her hamstrings as well as her abdomen and her glutes. Again, we look for about 10 to 15 repetitions to tolerance. Okay, the higher she comes up, the more challenging. I would definitely make sure somebody is holding the ball or the ball is against a stable surface like a wall when you're beginning this motion. If you would like to progress, then you would go ahead and hold it on your own, but that is very challenging as well.